Welcome to the Aging Boomers. I'm your host, Frank Sampson, and for those of you that have listened in before, you know this show is about discussing so many of the issues facing boomers, their parents, and what we know, of course, is a aging population today. I also want to remind everybody that today's show is sponsored by Senior Care Authority, a professional senior placement and elder care management organization that has a national network of advisors to help in determining the right path for senior living or receiving proper care. So whether it's in-home care, assisted living, residential, or memory care, get the necessary advice from a senior care advisor in your area by calling Senior Care Authority at 888-809-1231, or you could go directly to the website at www.seniorcareauthority.com. I also... the advisors be happy just to give you some free consultation on the phone, initial consultation, so feel free to call them on any matters. Some great people in the organization. Also want to let everybody know I came out with a new book that just was released this past week on Amazon. It's also called The Aging Boomers. It's where I've really taken some of the experts that I have interviewed to help provide answers to critical questions for you, parents, other loved ones. You know, hopefully you'll check it out. Many of the answers will surprise you. Some of the answers will help you immediately in dealing with the realities of situations you never had to deal with before. So check it out. Just go on Amazon.com, type in The Aging Boomers. We kind of already hit the bestseller status in a few different categories, so we're pretty excited about that. So I want to introduce our guest today. Very excited, fellow CSA and a fellow Michigander, Susan Miedzianowski. Did I get that right?
Yes, you did.
Hey, all right. Susan Miedzianowski, who is a faculty member for the Society of Certified Senior Advisors and assistant professor teaching gerontology as well as the business of healthcare at several colleges across the country. Susan has more than 45 years of experience in the healthcare industry, and in her educator role focuses on the philosophy that education should always be a fun, experiential, and empowering and meaningful process. She currently serves as chairman on the editorial board of the CSA Journal. Susan holds a PhD in Human Services from Capella University and a master's degree in Healthcare Administration. Also a master's in Aging Services Management at the University of Southern California and Bachelor of Nursing from the University of Detroit, my hometown, at Mercy. And one thing I want to point out is that she achieved her PhD at the young age of 63. So, Susan, I want to just thank you for joining us on the Aging Boomers.
Yes, my pleasure. I'm so happy to be here today.
Yeah. So, you know, I love talking to people who, you know, you've achieved many goals through your career, but it just kind of doesn't stop. You kind of keep going on to that next level. And I always like to share with people, you know, sharing kind of your the path that you've taken, and kind of what continues to give you that drive to continue to just achieving new goals for yourself.
Well, that's a good question, and many times I've asked myself the same thing. But what I think the best answer would be is you have to figure out what your dream is. I don't always know the path I'm going to take to get there, but I found out in a very early part of my nursing career that I liked teaching patients about different things. And then I liked teaching, and I was good at teaching patients and helping them understand their insurances. I was good at teaching physicians about what they had to do to get paid right and to bill correctly. And it just kind of, you know, evolved from there. But in order to be a teacher, where you can make the most good or make the most impact, then you have to have the paper to go with it. So I decided to go back to school, and my husband and my children were very supportive and made it possible for me to study. All of those things, with the exception of the diploma, which I got right out of high school in nursing, all of those things I achieved with a family and a job, and it took time, but I just kept the goal in mind that I was going to help those who wanted to follow me get the best start they could. It's just kind of fun. I found it to be exciting.
Well,
when it's exciting, you want to pursue it.
Yeah.
Then I got addicted to learning.
Yeah.
It finally dawned on me that the best day is the day I can learn something, anything. It doesn't matter how little, how small, how big, how important. As long as I've learned something today, I'm a happy person. So that's where I kind of get it from.
Well, that's great advice. I know it wasn't easy. I know that, as I mentioned at the beginning of the show, I recently wrote a book, and I'm a parent, grandparent, run a company, lots to do, and people were asking me, how do you have time? And I guess if it's something you want to do, you make time, but there's challenges along the way. So tell me, tell our listeners, I'm sure it wasn't an easy road to get your PhD at the age of 63. I mean, what are some of the challenges you've run into, or some of those barriers, and how did you kind of overcome them? Because it's not going to be easy for anybody to achieve goals like that. They're going to run into some challenges. So talk to us about that a little bit.
Well, I think that part of the challenge is managing your time. When you're still working and you end up, even if especially if you're, in my profession as an instructor, as a professor, as a facilitator to help others learn, there's always papers to grade, discussions to post, seminars to attend, things to do. Never mind the fact that my husband and I raised 5 daughters. We now have 14 grandchildren and 3 great-grandchildren. So there's all of the family, we both have big families extended. So, it gets to be a lot of responsibility. I find that I had to decide when the best time to study, when the best time to make time for me. Oh, and that's the other thing you have to remember. Somewhere in there, you have to make time for you. Because if you don't, a very wise professor that I had at Capella told me, if you always burn the candle at both ends, eventually it meets in the middle, and when it melts, it's you. So you have to make sure that you find some way to balance. I used to make it a point to never do homework on Sunday. That was my day to sharpen the saw, as Franklin Covey would tell you. Right. Because if you don't take the time to recharge your own batteries, there's nothing left to give anybody else. So Sunday I would spend with the little kids, and we would go to the park and play on the swings. The rest of the week, I study best early in the morning because that's when my brain functions the best. That's when I did it all, when my kids were growing older and I was back in school for my master's and all those things. It was the time when the house was quiet. So I work better early in the morning. And by the time I get done working all day, I'm too tired to focus. So you figure out what works best for you. I go by a very old and tried and true thing. I make a list every day of what I have to do. Sometimes I get it all done. Sometimes I don't. Sometimes the list has things that's going to take me longer than a day to do, but I keep due dates in mind, and it just helps me keep things organized. If I don't make the list, if I don't stay organized, I don't accomplish anything, and then I just get frustrated. So it's an ongoing process. It's not perfect. There were weeks I didn't do so well, and there were weeks I was absolutely wonderful. So it's life. You have to make it work.
Were there times, whether it was going for your master's or PhD or other goal that you set out for yourself, where you said, I don't know if I could do this?
Yes. There were times, as we get older, not only do we have different kinds of requirements or demands on our time between grandchildren and children, and somebody's losing a job, somebody might have to move back in, and suddenly we found ourselves with 4 additional people in our house and a daughter who was sick, and I'm still trying to finish studying and finish a dissertation and find time to take care of a newborn and all these other things that are piling on. And sometimes, or you get to the point where you hit a wall and you can't accomplish a paper, and you just look at it and you say, you know what, I don't know if this is all worth it. And then I take back, and what I always do for myself is I take a day off.
Mm-hmm.
Just go back and think about this.
Right.
All right, the rest of it we'll have to manage, because this is what we have to achieve. We'll figure all the rest of it out, and we make it work. But you have to take a step back, and it's okay to have a pity me party. It's quite all right.
Mm-hmm.
Have your pity party. Sleep on it. Your dream is still your dream. And nobody said it was going to be easy.
Good advice.
Got to go back to it.
Good advice.
That's the way it goes.
So,
health issues, bad knees, bad backs. We get all those things as we get older, right? You just have to figure out how to make it work. Okay. It's different for everybody. What works for me may not work for you.
Good.
But a list is awesome.
I know that you've been a teacher in the area of gerontology, and I'd love to talk with you about kind of the teachings that are going on and discussions that are going on in the classroom as it relates to boomers. I mean, there was a tradition that, the goal was always, you hit whatever it was, 65, and you retired and played golf and did all sorts of other things. I think I know things are changing, because I have, a lot of friends in that age group in their 60s, and it's just not the same as it used to be, I guess in the silent generation. Would you agree? And where do you think things are going there as it relates to the new retirement?
I think even as I travel around the country for CSA, lecturing, and I'm lecturing for the certification class, and I'm meeting people who are preparing to become certified senior advisors, I find many in my student group are middle-aged to older adults who have retired from the corporate world, as it were, and are now finding a new challenge, a new career, a new opportunity. This is the third stage of their life, and they are determined to make the most of it. They're not satisfied anymore. Not everybody. Some are still very happy to sit on the side and just play golf and enjoy life, and I think that's awesome. There are those, however, however the baby boomers, all their different cultures, and we still have the variety of those of us who aren't ready to sit on the sidelines yet and play golf and whatever other things that they like to do. I don't even know how to play golf, so I don't know how I'm going to work that out. But
I play
we'll
golf.
Figure it out when I get
play golf, and I don't know how to play golf.
Oh, okay, so that's fine. But I mean, I find that the majority of the students in my class are middle-aged, 50 to 60 age range. So, they are and I have had students in my class that are baby boomers, and they're starting new adventures in taking care of seniors. One of the things I like to tell students is I find growing old fascinating, not only because I'm doing it, but because it helps me to understand, and then when I'm teaching you how to take care of me and all of those like me, I have a better perspective. I'm not just talking out of a textbook. I'm talking from experience. I think baby boomers have so much to share. There are so many of them who are doing second careers and second waves of different, sometimes third careers. There's ways to employ older adults so that even those who are older than us, some of the silent generation or some of the older leading edge of the baby boomers, there's There's social entrepreneurship, where you utilize what's available in your community and start a whole new goal. Find a way to reach out to those who are not able to function on their own. Getting old is wonderful. Affording it is another problem.
Right.
And so I think as the baby boomers get older, they're trying to find ways to help each other get through this maze, if you will, of agencies. I mean, you can need how many different agencies to try to help you function at home, and then you have to figure out how to pay for them. Well, some folks have saved really well, and some folks, the market wasn't so kind. So we often outlive our resources, and helping each other find a way to do it is kind of a good idea, I'm thinking.
Yeah.
I don't want to go back to the hippie communes necessarily, but we have to be able to help each other. So and I think that might be a lesson we can leave those who follow us.
Yeah, most of the people that you're teaching, are they really just in it to learn, or are they moving on to other, new careers? And what types of careers? What are the people, once they finish up your program, what are they moving on to do? What are you hearing?
I teach students who wish to become nursing home administrators, and in those classes I have students of all ages, some, younger, earlier, 20s, 30s, some who are, a little bit older. I have a lot of students who are returning to school, much like I did after their children, maybe they are the first generation to actually come back to school. And so I call them career change adults, because some of them are changing careers literally, but some of them want to be more than housewives or house husbands, whichever, and now they want to come back to school, and they've finally got the time to actually do that. So they're looking for a new career. In healthcare, we're looking at, people looking to start smaller group homes to, house older adults, people who want to be nursing home administrators. In my CSA classes, I have those who who are working in non-medical home care, in insurance. We have to be able to gear any type of service, aging in place, aging in strange places, unconventional places to age. All these different things have to be considered, because there's so many. The population, the pyramid is tipping dangerously upside down. We have to figure out how to accommodate all of these older adults without breaking the piggy bank. Right. And so we have people looking at, how to set up safer driving. We have people looking at technology for older adults. I am amazed at I just finished my course at USC, and so I did that at 66, by the way. Finished my last master's. So I finished this year, and so many of most of the students in the classes that I was taking were younger. A lot of them were here from other countries, and when they finished their degree, their goal was to go back and take the strides we have made in helping to take care of our older adults back and put them in place in their country, because they haven't gotten that far. So, there are so many out there. It's amazing the opportunities there are to help. I was at the Gerontological Society in November. I attended a seminar on improving improving communities so that older adults. Something simple: installing sufficient park benches for places to sit.
Wow!
So people who are walking, who are out and being more active, can rest. Mm-hmm. I would have never, making friendly communities so that all ages can benefit. It's kind of an interesting time to be living, I think. And there's so many things you can do.
Yeah, there's all sorts of niches starting up, all sorts of wonderful ideas. So you mentioned something about that with aging, it's kind of tipping in the other direction. It's a little scary. I'm not sure if that's the exact term you used, but I think that's what you meant.
Close enough.
Yeah. So do you think Do you think our society is ready for? I mean, you're in the industry. I'm in the industry. We see it each and every day. All right, it's in print. It's on television, all sorts of media. But so a lot of people just don't want to believe. Yeah, they are getting older. But do you think our society is ready for what's going to happen? It's happening, but what's going to happen down the road?
No.
Yeah.
I don't think we're ready yet. I don't think that in some, now I won't say that across as a blanket statement. I will say some communities that are maybe they have an older population. They are not a younger population, but they are geared to older populations. I would hope that those communities are, you're seeing more senior apartments being constructed that are more universal design. Across the street from where we live, they're building senior apartments. You have to be 55 to even be eligible to live in there. Mm-hmm. So there's grab bars in the shower. There's, but we still have all of these homes that were built back in the 40s, the 50s, and even before then that still have narrow hallways, that have no grab bars in the shower, that are not particularly friendly to aging in place. And the rework on a lot of them would take more than probably they're worth. So we have to find ways to assist older adults who wish to age where they are to be able to do that. I don't know that we're quite ready. We're quite aware that these things are, in the industry there are folks who keep saying it, but the general public, I'm not sure that they are quite there yet.
Yeah.
Because when they do, they're going to say, well, how are we going to pay for all this? I haven't heard that yet. Although I have noticed that the Older Americans Act has still not been reconfirmed. So I'm not sure that they think it's that important.
Yeah.
But I hope they figure it out before it's too late.
Right. No, I agree with you. An interesting, I don't know the exact statistic, I'll give you kind of a general, and I'm sure you know this. What's surprising to me, and I'm wondering your thought on it, is geriatricians, which are kind of like, for those that never heard that term, they're kind of like pediatricians, right? But they're for the elderly. Yep. And with aging and everything, all the trends we're talking about, there doesn't seem to be a huge demand for physicians specializing in geriatrics. Why do you think that is?
You really don't want me to start that road. One of the things that we are finding across the board, whether you are looking for a primary care physician because you're 21 or whether you're 71, the changes that are going on in the healthcare industry, or I should say, as a healthcare industry, we need to make this wheel turn from specialists being king of the pile to primary care becoming king of the pile. And I fear that until such time as we get some recognition and financial equality going on here, students don't want to go into internal medicine and or geriatrics because, after all, students are going to school and they want to get out and make money. Well, you're going to make a lot more money as a cardiologist. It's much more prestigious as a cardiologist. And not everybody is geared to the different kind of pace and attention and detail that's required in a geriatric or even a primary care practice. The fact that, and not all of us are willing to sit with an older person, even those of us who are getting old. We're not willing to sit with an older person and give them the extra 3 minutes it's going to take them to tell you what's wrong, to help them get through, to sit down or to change position or whatever it is you need to get done. We're in a hurry to get on to the next patient. It takes a special kind of person to want to do that. Those who have selected primary care as their field, I admire them. As long as they're there to make sure that all of the wellness things and the management. Additionally, we have all of the costs of healthcare that are, piling up on top of the physicians and their accountability and the increased transparency. And, oh, by the way, we're going to cut your reimbursement. So it's a big puzzle, But part of the problem is this country focuses more on fixing problems than preventing problems. And until we turn the wheel like they have in some other countries, primary care is going to be sort of towards the bottom of the pile. And it needs to become more important. We, as a country, we don't even feel until we start to get to a certain age that getting an annual physical is important. I'm always telling my students in healthcare, if you spend, we have to help people understand, we have to help the population understand that if we use the analogy of a car, if you spend $30 every 3,000 miles to get your oil changed and all the things checked, it's a lot less expensive than paying $1,200 to $2,000, depending on where you live, when the head gasket goes. The same thing applies to us as people. If we take care of our body and we change our lifestyles and we go to the doctor and we get our preventive stuff done, in the long run, it's going to not necessarily prevent us from getting something going wrong, but we're going to catch it a lot sooner. Therefore, we're going to be able to manage it a lot better, rather than a catastrophe when it's, oh my goodness, this is going on and now I can't do anything. So we have to change our focus as a country, and I don't think we're there yet.
Yeah. Well,
aside from the fact that we have all the aging baby boomer physicians who are beginning to retire.
Right. Well,
and they're not getting replaced fast enough. Lots of pieces to the puzzle.
Dr. Susan Miedzianowski, thank you. I could talk to you all day about this stuff, but I know we don't.
Me too. This is fun.
And thank you so much. Thank you for sharing your journey with us. Thank you for the great advice, and we'd love to have you back in the future. That was wonderful. So
I would be happy anytime.
Great.
The only thing I would tell you is, if you can dream it, you can achieve it.
There you go.
Just have to want it bad enough.
Good. I'll end it with that. Thank you so much, and thanks for joining us on the Aging Boomers, Susan, and thank you all for listening in. Please share our information with others. We're growing, and that's why, because of all of you. Again, you can listen to us on iTunes, iHeartRadio. We have a free app you get on your iPhone or Android phone. Just type in The Aging Boomers. Also check out my new book called The Aging Boomers on Amazon. Thank you all for joining us. Be safe out there, and we'll talk to you all soon.